How's it going, you big nerds? My name is Timui and I'm a character designer and an illustrator. I have been working professionally for 4 years and I love to make videos for fun. I just want to remind everybody that's watching that if you like the video, if you like the drawing or the commentary, please leave a like, comment, or subscribe. Or maybe if you want, you can do all three. That would be awesome. I try to put out a video every week. If not, I put out a video eventually. Today I'm going to be talking about one TV show that really has influenced me into becoming an artist, and that is the show Dragon Ball Z. Just like any other 90s kid, I was obsessed with the huge anime boom of the 90s. I loved watching Toonami when it came on. You know, we didn't have cable growing up, so whenever we were at a hotel on vacation or at a friend's house that had cable, it was like Christmas. And I really do mean that. Watching anime was like Christmas because all I had was static on my TV at home. Dragon Ball Z was a huge influence in my life and I loved all the characters, and even though I didn't know that there was a technical term, I loved the character designs as well. Just every single character stands out so individually. Today I'm going to be drawing Android 18. I'm not going to go into the whole history of who she is or what she is, but she is a very main character in the story. She's very powerful, and yeah, I thought her design was always really cool. So first I try to feel out the pose for Android 18 and see what I like. I kind of wanted to have her floating in the air holding an orb of like energy, one of the energy blasts that she has, and the background is actually kind of an Easter egg. I wanted to put her in front of the mountains where she fought Vegeta and Trunks for the first time. If you can see in the background, I put the mountain road where she broke Vegeta's arm. Down in the bottom right, you can see that there's a palette constantly popping up. That is because I bought an app. It's only for Apple, unfortunately, but I bought an app. It's called Coolors, and what it is that it's a palette generator. I find that a lot of my illustrations kind of feel the same, and I wanted to stretch myself in the way I do things. So I generated a bunch of palettes that I liked. I started off with this kind of weird green one, but in the end I went for a blue and pink color scheme. Once I figured out the color scheme and the pose, I decided to go ahead and add details in the line work. I thickened lines where it needed to be thickened, and I thinned out lines where it needed to be thinned. This is just a side note for those of you people who like line work. I plan on making a how-to line work video down the road. That's gonna take a really long time because instructional videos are really hard to make. This is kind of like a small tip for you guys that I like line art, but generally how I do it is that when the side of an object is in shadow, I generally put the line work on that side a little thicker than the one that's in the light. So on her leg, the top of her leg, since that's where the light is coming from, that line that makes the top of her leg, I make it thinner, and underneath her leg where it's in shadow, I make that thicker. And that's your free line work tip of the day. Going back to the drawing, as you can see that the eyes changed a lot, and that's because one of my biggest weaknesses in drawing are eyes. I just don't understand how they work. They're such a weird shape, and when they go back in perspective, the shape gets even weirder. So the first set of eyes that I had, I knew something was off. I kept flipping the drawing back and forth to see if I could figure out what was wrong with it. But you know, when you get to that point in the drawing, when you're just staring at something for so long, everything just seems to be right to you. So I actually took a picture and posted it on my Instagram stories, and I held the poll. I was like, do these eyes look weird? Yes or no? Please be honest with me, or something like that. And over 90% of people said yes, they looked really weird. And I'm so glad that I actually asked that poll, because I would have been kicking myself if I just let that pass. So in response to the 90% of people that said yes, I held another question and answer thing on my Instagram stories that was like, For those of you who voted yes, what specifically about the eyes is wrong? Is it both of them, the right or the left? And I got even more responses. A large majority of them said the left one was weird. It was a little too high, and I basically erased both eyes and started it over again from scratch, because the more I tried to kind of fix those shapes, the more it kind of looked grosser and grosser. I think I was spending way too much on the drawing and I needed a break at that time. But eventually I did figure it out. Once I figured out how to draw the eyes, I started noticing another problem with the drawing, and that was her hips. There was something weird about her hips. It felt like she was sagging her pants. I don't know, it just felt that way. And I had to redraw the outline of her actual body underneath her clothing just to figure out how the anatomy worked. I was just really confused, but eventually I figured it out. I redrew the drawing, and I was really trying not to redraw as much as I did there, but I couldn't just let that pass. I had to fix it. After I fixed the anatomy, I went ahead and filled in the color of Android 18. I put in the shadows using a multiply layer on top of the fill layer. After finishing that, I started working on the mountains. I started adding details. In order to draw more attention to Android 18, I drew the line work for the drawing of the mountains a little thinner than the actual subject itself. And when you manipulate line thickness like that, the thinner the lines go, the more farther away the subject becomes. And also, since the lines of the mountains were thicker than the subjects, that also creates contrast and also more attention to Android 18. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed my commentary on how I kind of think about what goes into a drawing that I do. Let me tell you something, guys. Making videos is so hard. I think it's like so challenging because I'm not quite used to speaking in front of a microphone where there's nobody in front of me. I mean, I've taught students before, but I don't know, it's just so different. But I thank you once again for sticking to the end. Once again, if you like the video, like, comment, subscribe. If you like today's drawing, if you're a Dragon Ball Z fan, or if you know someone who's a Dragon Ball Z fan, this specific illustration of Android 18 will be available in my shop immediately after this video uploads. Go ahead and check it out. The website name is in the top left. You can type that in the search bar and it'll bring you straight to it. I have this and a few others. I have a Legend of Zelda print that if you're interested in that, you can go ahead and buy. If you have any other cool ideas for me to draw in the future, go ahead and leave it in the comments. If I think it's pretty fun, I probably will pick it up and make it into a video. My last question for you guys is, what was your show that influenced you to become an artist? Go ahead and put your answer down in the comments below and let's start a conversation. And yeah, see you nerds later.